All right, so welcome to DIY Marketing for Professional Speakers. Now, this is the Get Noticed and Increase Your Influence. Totally coincidental that it goes with Influence 19. My name is Aidan Crawford. I work with Short Circuit Media. This is a sponsor session, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to try and sell you anything. This is going to be 45, 50 minutes of just content because I'd rather you just leave this room with something that you can do. All right? Does that sound good? Excellent. There we go. So this is just a brief introduction to who I am. So I do own Short Circuit Media, and I sell marketing as a managed service. So I work with professional speakers, trainers, and consultants. And what I do is I take the time to learn your business, help you figure out your business model and get it honed a little bit better, create some strategies to get you in front of your ideal clients if you don't already know who your ideal clients are. And then I execute on those strategies. So I don't just tell you what to do. A lot of times I'll just come in and I'll take over. So I've got people that write blogs for you and we'll manage your website and do all that sort of great stuff. So basically allow you to grow your business so you don't have to be an expert in marketing yourself. You just have to be an expert at being the expert at what you are. There we go. So this is going to be an all killer, no filler. I'm going to give up on this. It's going to be an all killer, no filler presentation. And if you want at the end, you can book a 30-minute consultation with me here. I'm not doing anything most of the day except standing at a booth looking pretty. So what I want you to do is book some time with me. We'll sit down for half an hour, go through your business model. We'll solve, let's say I'm going to solve one problem, one marketing problem with you in that half an hour. So it's usually people have got lots of marketing problems, but I'm happy to sit down and just kind of go over what you need, what's your biggest obstacle, and usually we can figure it out just through just a bit of brainstorming and figuring out who your ideal clients are. So again, you can book that time right at shortcircuitmedia.com/influence19. So I'm going to present this today in three parts. We're going to go through at the very beginning where a lot of people skip this step. It's called defining your ideal clients. So I will go to a speaker and, it used to be 9 times out of 10, but now it's about 5 or 6 times out of 10. I'll go, who's your ideal client? And they'll say, everyone's my ideal client. And it's like, well, then you're just shooting things at the wall and hoping they stick. That's not the way it works. Then once we help you figure out how to define your ideal client, what we're going to do is actually help you create a value statement that speaks to those clients. And then I'm going to give you some tools and tactics that are going to get you hired and get you noticed by those ideal clients. So that third part is probably the part where everybody's going to walk out of here going, I can do that. Nope. Oh no, I'm going to put them all online for you. You can download them. There we go. Like that? No problem. All right, so when we define your ideal client, I always say everyone is not an acceptable answer to the question. So my kids aren't your client, my mom isn't your client. They may be interested, they're interested in what I do, but they're not going to pay me to do it. So your ideal client has to be the person that is going to be giving you the money, writing you the check. So your ideal client could be meeting planners, HR departments. If you're in the coaching and consulting and training, you could be aiming right at the C-suite and looking to get right in there. They're your ideal clients. They're going to pay you. Just getting the attention. Well, Lisa. Not embarrassing. So your job is to make the case to every one of these people at every interaction that you're worth the money that you're asking for, and to position yourself as an investment and not an expense, which is a big thing as well that I've found over the years where, we talk about fees, when it's speaker fees, really it's speaker investment. What's the ROI for bringing you in, right? If you can make an ROI case for you, you can charge whatever you want. So meeting planners will only pay you $10,000 to speak when you convince them you're worth $10,000. I was talking to a guy last night, and I don't see him here today. And he said he was going to, oh yes he is. So I was talking to a guy last night, and he got paid, he got a gig in the UK for 10 grand. It's a great gig. He's now a $10,000 speaker. Now speaking is not a meritocracy. Just because you've been doing it for 20 years doesn't mean you deserve $10,000. You deserve $10,000 when you can convince somebody that you're worth $10,000. And again, that goes back to the ROI. So to do this, you have to identify your ideal clients. We go back to that. Who's going to find the most value in your expertise? Who's going to pay for that expertise? And what are you going to bring to the table that's unique? I don't care if you're a leadership speaker or another kind of leadership speaker. You've got to have some kind of a hook that differentiates you from everybody else. And then again, figure out the ROI. If what you're going to sell to people is, I'm going to come into your organization, your association, I'm going to reduce member turnover, or I'm going to reduce turnover of staff. And you know, you can make the case, it's going to cost $60,000 to replace somebody on your staff. So it's better to keep them, it's cheaper to keep them. You pay me $10,000, I reduce your turnover from 15% to 8%. You know, I'm worth $40,000, $50,000 potentially. Just make that ROI case. So when you create your value statement, I have a client up in Canada that does this. And so this is his line. His name's Matt Conway. And he says that the biggest problem for salespeople, and all speakers are salespeople, is that they we all over their clients. We do this, we do that. They're not client focused. So your value proposition has to be, what is the client going to get? I don't care if you do, I don't care what you do, I want to know what the final outcome is going to be, right? And that's what you have to do for all your clients. If you just drone on about your topic, you're going to be a terrible guest at dinner parties and a cigar peg. So it's not your elevator pitch. Everybody goes, you know, let's get your elevator pitch, let's get your elevator pitch. But it's the foundation for your marketing model. And once we know that, so I have to read off this. Once you know what the foundation of your marketing model is, everything else kind of falls in place as you align with it. So you know your value proposition, you know who your ideal clients are. Everything else, once you know that, it's so easy. You know who you're writing your blogs for. You know who you're writing your descriptions for your keynotes for. You know. So you're not making it really vague, and you're being really specific. You're going, this is what I'm going to do for you, and you're going to see X return. Hire me. All right, so you got to just make, again, I've said this before, you make your case. So don't waste your time being everything to everyone. And you just have to know when your whole marketing, again, I just said this, you're gonna be able to write the content that is going to appeal to the people. So your value statement. So it can be expanded to your elevator pitch. You can say, this is what I do, this is the return it's going to make. You can turn that you can craft that into your elevator pitch and say that in 30 seconds. But it should also influence everything else in your marketing, in your whole brand. Everything should work together towards that ideal client that you're trying to nail. You're going, I want this client. Everything I'm writing for is for this persona of the person who's going to hire me. Everybody's familiar with personas and stuff, right? Okay. So now we're going to get into the juicy part, which is actually marketing your business. So you know your marketing model and you're able to articulate your value, and now we can actually go about things. So we're going to talk about identifying revenue opportunities off stage based on your knowledge and experience. Turning your speaking into consulting, into coaching, into online books and online courses. This all expands your business. And I just went through this process again a few weeks back with another client, where once we figured out who he was talking to, within a few weeks, we'd sat down, we'd rewritten his entire website so it was focused on that specific market. And he went through all his keynotes, like, okay, here's the keynote. Well, that keynote can also be a breakout session. It can also be a half-day workshop. And so he has two keynotes, but he now has two keynotes, two breakouts that go with those keynotes, and associated workshops for each one of those things. And he's got these different verticals that he can work. As if somebody wants to, if he's presenting to a crowd, to an association, and there's 500 people in the audience, and 500 of those people, or let's say 400 of those people are his ideal clients, they can bring him in. It's like, oh, he can do a half-day workshop on this as well. So when you know your audience, you're able to create the content. You use your social media more wisely because you're not chasing CEOs on Instagram. You're focusing where they're going to be. You're paying for a bit of advertising and you're using your knowledge to create content or products. So, and this gets back to it again, on your website, now that we've identified all this, take a look at your website when you get home or when you go back to your room and ask yourself, does this all align